Our first guest, Jeff Sachs. How are you feeling at a macro level about what's going on in the world today?
Well, kind of the best of times, the worst of times always, because you see horrendously horrible things, of which war is by far at the top of the list. I mean, the stupidity and the uselessness of it. And on the other hand, you see some fantastic things, the power of technology, the pace of economic progress in rural India and parts of China, the knowledge that things can get done in Africa. So the times are really exciting on the one hand, and then you wonder, are we going to blow ourselves to bits before this good stuff gets done?
And how did poverty, of all the issues that exist today, why that issue?
Well, for me, I kind of felt from the beginning that economics was about doing things to improve people's lives. In Africa, you see more than any other part of the world the struggle for survival before your eyes. Most of that kind of scourge of extreme poverty has been lifted from most of the rest of the world. So Africa remains the epicenter of the true human disaster right now.
I mean, with that, is there an anger component?
Well, there's an incredible daily frustration component. I mean, how hard is it to get a bed net to a child? If it's just something that we could do.
Well, how hard is it?
There probably are about 300 million sleeping sites in malaria-ridden Africa. And these bed nets now cost about $5 each, and they last 5 years. So 300 million times $5 is $1.5 billion for a 5-year protection. $1.5 billion is what we spend on the military every single day in this country. So one day's military spending, one day would be enough to provide 5 years of coverage of bed nets for all of the sleeping sites of Africa. Why is it that we're spending $550 billion a year on military approaches to security and $4 billion, less than 1/100th of that, on helping the poorest part of the world? To me, it makes absolutely no sense. We know that you get dangers when you have extremely impoverished, hungry people and the unstable societies around them. And yet we can't seem to devote our resources, even to a modicum of what we use to buy the bombs and the bombers and all the rest.
So where do you point your finger?
I think it's a terrible public misunderstanding and basically a lack of awareness, because if you think about extreme poverty, the one thing that surely accompanies extreme poverty is powerlessness, voicelessness. I mean, these people have no voice, we don't see them. We're supposed to cut extreme poverty by half by 2015 in the Millennium Development Goals, but I've taken it a step further in my own goals, which is that we ought to end extreme poverty in our generation by the year 2025.
In this past year, have you seen points occur that are flush with that trajectory?
I was in China just this summer. China's lifting extreme poverty before our eyes. I mean, the amount of economic progress, the demonstration of what's possible given the technology that we have and all the rest, it's phenomenal to see. So we can make it, but on the other hand, we also have this war, which is not winding down right now. You have fighting from Afghanistan
through scared
Iraq,
about this war?
through Lebanon. Yeah, I am scared, and I'm shocked by it. I'm shocked by the idea that anybody can believe that dropping bombs on people and leveling cities is going to solve any of our problems. I'm afraid about the situation in the world, and I'm absolutely afraid of how easy it seems to be to go to war with people that we don't know, haven't met, and yet enough people seem perfectly complacent to drop bombs on their head. And
do you think that's born from anything in particular in today's society?
Well, I think that the us versus them mentality is truly the most frightening thing on the planet.
There seems to be a significant move toward celebrity involvement in a lot of these issues. How does that play into your objectives and how you guys are tackling these?
I think the main thing on all of this, you want to end poverty, you want to make a safer world, don't leave it to the politicians. There is no way that these issues are going to get solved by the stroke of a pen of a president or prime minister.
Does that piss you off that there's not the leadership in office to use that pen?
Of course it does annoy me, but I've learned, I think, something deeper and better by that frustration, which is that it's really up to us and doesn't have to go through Washington. And in our world today, most things that are important don't go through Washington. They don't go through the capitals. We've got to do them. And so to come back to the celebrity reach, the fact of the matter is, for very good reason, because he's a brilliant artist and a brilliant guy and a wonderful guy, Bono reaches hundreds of millions of people. And when he talks, people hear it. When he plays music and during his concert makes a point about African poverty, people take notice.
What do you need to win, like to achieve your goals?
Public understanding. That's it.
And is that media? Where's that going to happen?
It's just got to happen everywhere. It's got to happen in schools, it's got to happen in discussions, it's got to happen in media, it's got to happen in rock concerts. People have to understand not just that there's a problem, because that they've got, but that there are solutions. That's the key. That there are practical things that can be done that can cut and end this kind of hunger which is killing people, that can fight diseases, that can get AIDS and malaria and TB under control, that can help impoverished people grow enough food, get livelihoods, that can turn climate change into off this extraordinarily risky path that we're on onto something much safer for the whole planet. What's happening is that more and more people are coming to the view that this war gig is really the wrong way, and that we better go to the more fundamental problems on the planet, the poverty, the dislocation, the hunger, the conflict that comes from all of that. And so more and more people are getting involved, and you have to say that's a wonderful thing.